guys, this is Fred from Profile. Bruce Soord from the Pineapple Thief. This is a huge honor to have you back on Profile for the third time. How are you, Bruce?
Third. Yeah. I'm very, very well. I have to say, all things considered, I'm doing good.
Great. As I said, this is the third time we talked via this forum. First interview was back in July 2016 for the release of your Wilderness. Second was with yourself and Gavin Henderson when we talked mainly about touring. This time around, we will be talking about the new release, the brand new Pineapple Thief album, Versions of the Truth. The album is set to be released on September 4th. Tell us, how do you guys feel? Anxious, nervous, confident?
Yeah, it's such a weird thing, isn't it? Because you're surrounded by everybody's opinions in the modern world, you know, online. You know exactly what people are thinking, and I think I've been doing it for too long now to get worried about it. I'm glad that I've got over that. But you know, in the early days of releasing records, it was a horrible time. I was so anxious about what people would think, and then you see people say good things and bad things, and obviously the bad things, it used to put a real downer on my day. I'd be like, oh, how dare that person not like the record? Yeah. And but no, I'm pretty chilled out. I know that music is a subjective thing. Some people will get it, some people won't, and you know, that's life. And the main thing for me is, as long as people aren't too vindictive, they're just not, you know, if people are critical, that's fine. I've not got a problem with that. But I've seen it a lot online. It's when people are, you know, you're thinking, why are you being so nasty? You know, these are people. This is their art. This is their livelihood. You know, you don't have to be that mean. But no, in general, no. I'm pretty relaxed, and like I say, I'm pretty confident.
So yeah, the webzines critiques so far, like they've been quite, or actually extremely positive. Like their reviews have been extremely positive. Do you still read those reviews or not really?
Not really. I do. I mean, sometimes when people review us, they at you, so it pings up on my phone, and so you got no choice. You're like, oh, look at this, right? And quite often, someone will give you a really bad review, and it'll be like, hey, Bruce, at Bruce Soord, new review, and it'll be like, oh, great, oh, right, thanks. So you think, oh, well, that's nice, but yeah, I know that every album we've done has always been mixed. You know, some people love it, some people just don't get it, and that's just the way it is. So I know that from what we've put online and the music videos we put out, the comments have been great. So so hopefully it's not we've got a few more years left in the Pineapple Thief.
Demons is so good. The video is beautiful. So
Yeah,
congratulations.
thanks. Yeah, thanks. We really like the guy. He lives just down the road, because I live in the southwest of the UK, which is near the Jurassic Coast, which is a very famous coastline. And this is where the video guy lives. And he's done, well, we've done 4 videos, and the last video we're going to be releasing very soon. Probably by the time people hear this, it might already be out. But he's just fantastic. Guy called George Laycock, and so yeah, it's the first time that we've done 4 music videos, and also the first time Gavin, I think, has appeared in a music video. Certainly never did in Porcupine Tree, so we finally got him.
Can't
got
recall.
him,
Yeah,
yeah. So finally got him to pose. I think he enjoyed it. I think he enjoyed posing with his drums.
good stuff. Now about the album itself. Understand the theme navigates around respecting the truth, but can you explain a little bit more about it?
Yeah, I mean, when we started the record, it was actually back in October 2018, and unusually for us, I actually came up with the title right at the beginning. And I think it was lots of things. There was, I mean, in the UK back then, our society and the news was dominated by Brexit. So the UK leaving the European Union. It was horrible. It was a horrible time. It was really polarizing. I guess, you know, you can see what's happening in obviously not in Canada, but in USA, how, you know, how polarized the world was then. And
Yep.
so it was, and even then, the truth didn't seem to matter. It didn't. People would believe whatever they wanted to believe, and people would say whatever they wanted to say in order to get where they want or what they want. And it didn't really seem to matter whether there was any truth. And it was quite a weird time. And But at the same time, I was going through a bit of a conflict with someone very dear to me, and so it was interesting because I was looking at it from the complete sort of global macro perspective, which was looking at society and politics and the most powerful people in the world who had no regards for the truth, and then right down to my individual relationships with close relationships, and that how it was the same thing because I was having this conflict with a person very dear to me, and obviously we were arguing, and the only reason people argue is because each side has a different version of the truth, and this guy said to someone I know, he says, I don't know which 7 versions of the truth Bruce is telling you, but da da da, this is the truth, da da. And I just remembered hearing that statement, and I thought, what? That's an amazing phrase, versions of the truth, as if there can be versions of the truth. It just gets your mind, gets your mind sort of racing. And so to cut a long story short, that's when we came up with the title. And I think for the first time, I had that concept in my head when we were writing the songs and writing the lyrics and putting the album together. I think so the first time it's probably the closest we've come to a concept album.
That's very interesting. The 7 versions of the truth.
Yes.
Personally, I've been listening to Versions of the Truth non-stop since we received the promo. I love every song on it. It's beautiful. Can you tell us how Versions of the Truth stacks up with the rest of this discography? Any like differences, similarities?
I think it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, because the press will always pick up that this is your 13th studio album, and but I don't ever view it like that. I actually view it as the third because I believe it feels to me like this is the third album in the era when Gavin joined, and that was when things changed. That's when the band became successful and we started to tour, and he even came to Canada, and so things really changed from Your Wilderness. And so when I look back, I can't compare what we've been doing for the last 3 records to what I was doing before. It just doesn't feel. It feels very different, okay. And the process has changed as well because Your Wilderness, Gavin joined, and he was a session drummer, but we still got on well enough right at the beginning that Gavin was happy to suggest changes to songs and chop things up, and so the writing partnership started with Your Wilderness. And then it grew with Dissolution, and I think it's grown even more with Versions of the Truth. So it's become a real collaborative effort. And I'm really, really happy to have a writing partner. And I know some people would go, I can't write. I couldn't possibly write by committee or in a democracy. It has to be my vision. But I'm very happy to take an idea. And this is what happened with Versions of the Truth. If I came up with an idea, I would give it to Gavin straight away before working on it anymore. Even though I was desperate to carry on working on it, I would give it to Gavin because I really want to see where he would take it. And that's the beauty of having a collaboration, is it will go in directions that you have no idea would exist. So, for instance, the title track, when Gavin put the marimba on and he added all these things, it was like, wow, where's this song going? I'd never have done that. And then it inspires me to go in other directions. And I think that's the big difference that the Pineapple Thief has reached. It just feels to me like this was a real cohesive band effort. And obviously you got John. I think his bass guitar is the best I've heard of John. It's really sort of front. And I think a lot of that's to do with Gavin, and obviously as a bass player, it's a dream to have Gavin Henderson in your band, isn't it? So it's really taken John to a new level, and obviously you can hear Steve's atmospheric keyboards throughout. So yeah, it feels like a real nice progression for me. The third album of the Gavin Harrison era, I would say.
Yeah, but you can send me a $10 PayPal transfer if you want, but to me the entire discography is great. So
I'm very proud of the discography. I just think that where the band is now is it's almost like the before up until Someone Here Is Missing and maybe All the Walls. That was really Bruce Soord's solo in a way. And so that's why I'm quite comfortable having a solo career now, because I can put myself in that little bubble. But since then, probably Magnolia onwards, that's where it kind of the Pineapple Thief became a band, I think.
That's quite interesting. Perhaps a little more difficult of a question, but you walk by someone who doesn't know anything about the band and all your albums. How do you describe your music so he knows what to expect from scratch? I mean,
It's so difficult because people, you meet people who haven't got a, I'm introduced to someone like my wife's friend and says, oh yeah, Bruce plays in the band, and the first thing they'll say is, oh, do you play covers? No, actually we play originals. And they say, oh, do you play locally? Oh, no, not really. Where did you play last? Oh, it's North America. And they're like, oh, you mean you actually play in a proper band? So after you've got over that little hurdle, and they ask you what kind of music it is, it is incredibly difficult because we're a rock band really, but that doesn't really do it justice. But then if you say, oh, we're a progressive rock band, the progressive rock genre is probably the one genre that has got the widest.
oh,
You couldn't, if you said I'm in a prog rock band or a progressive rock band, that doesn't give anything away
no.
really. So it's very, very difficult. So I just say that we're a rock band. I don't mind saying we're a progressive rock band, but we're more of a sort of song orientated progressive rock band.
Yeah.
So it is very hard. I remember one guy said, I've made up a new genre for you. I'd call it rock noir. I go, oh, all right, yeah, I don't mind that. Rock noir, that doesn't sound too bad.
That's good. Yeah, and if you mention progressive rock, then you get into another discussion altogether
Yes.
because then they'll want to know, okay, what's progressive? Well,
Yeah,
progressive is Pink Floyd, Genesis. Yeah, well, I'm not really a Pineapple Thief. It's not Pink Floyd, so it's hard to explain. Absolutely.
very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it. You played in North America. Last year, we had a chance to see you guys playing live in Quebec City in front of nearly 1,000 people. Uh, a few years backwards, you guys played in the same city, okay? And I love the festival, Terra Incognita. I won't
Yep,
miss
yep.
one.
Very
But
fond
it was
memories.
in front of 180.
Yeah.
How can you explain such a difference in response?
I've I I've no idea. I have me and the bass player John, 'cause we've known each other since we were 18 years old, but we started a band together when we were kids. And we always look back. I mean, what the hell has happened over the last 4 years? Because it's the 4 year anniversary of Your Wilderness this month.
Yep.
And we actually said 4 years, and if you look at where we were before Your Wilderness came out to where we are now, it is quite an incredible difference, but the weird thing is that even when we were doing that Terra Incognita festival, it still felt, it still felt very similar. You're going out to this crowd of people. Okay, so it was like a fifth of the size or less than our last show, but it didn't feel too different. You still had this audience that were music lovers that
Oh,
were really, really into everything they were listening to. Even if you felt that they didn't really get it, they were still really polite and that made you feel really warm and at home. So even back then, it was exciting, and I felt really privileged to be in Quebec to be playing that show. Obviously, it's really nice to then come back and play to a sold-out auditorium of 1,000 people. So, you know, it it we do reflect sometimes and think, blimey, yeah, we've really come a long way. A very late curve, a very late upward curve, considering I've been doing this for 20 years. So
wow.
better late than never, I'd say.
Yeah, and those Terra Incognita fans, they're the best of the best. I mean, they won't miss out on any progressive rock shows in Quebec. Like
Yeah,
they're the best. Yeah.
I know it really. Yeah. It's a quite a unique progressive rock scene, isn't it, in
Yeah,
Quebec?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've mentioned already, and in the past, that Gavin Harrison's presence in the band saved Pineapple Thief in some ways, and carried the band in a different direction. You just mentioned that. Uh, Now that a few years have passed, tell me more about the feeling of having such a giant musician in your band.
It was funny because when we first met Gavin, and I'd be the first to admit this, I was very much, oh my God, it's Mr. Gavin Harrison, sir. Yes, everything was like, oh my God, it's Gavin Harrison. And we would play the first Your Wilderness tour, and sometimes I'd have to look back and think, oh my God, am I actually on stage with Gavin Harrison in
Wow.
my band? It's great. This is great. And then when we started to tour a lot and spent times on on tour buses, then he stopped being Gavin Harrison, the superstar drummer, and he became Gav, the guy that takes the mick out of me throughout the tour. And there was a lot of playfulness,
Yeah, a
and we
friend.
just
Yeah.
yeah got on really well. I mean, you spend a lot of time backstage and a lot of time hanging around in venues, so you are forced just to get to know each other. And luckily, we got to know each other, and we get on really well. And I think so now I think the relationship is so natural, and I think that does come across into the process of writing music, because now it's very much more relaxed about how the process. Not saying that it wasn't relaxed at the beginning, but I regarded Gavin as someone who I didn't know. This Gavin was he was this drummer that obviously everyone, in especially in the progressive rock world, everyone's heard of Gavin Harrison. So initially it was it was very sort of formal, I would say. But now, yeah, it's just a mate. It's just Gav playing in my band, luckily.
Yeah. Well, though Pineapple Thief was very well known here, around here in Canada, uh, when Gavin joined the band, we were like, wow, okay, uh, we know that Pineapple Thief will be so much bigger. Sorry if I'm searching for my words, but
No, that's fine.
we expected something like to happen, and it was proven last time you were here. I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah,
crazy,
yeah. Yes, it was.
and the music is so good. I mean, it's not just about Gavin, but the music, the albums, everything is so good. So yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thank
Uh,
you.
since we talked, it's important to mention that you released a stunning second solo album.
Oh, thanks.
All This Will Be Yours. I'm sure everybody have
Oh,
seen
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Sorry about the lights. You were inspired mainly by the birth of your third child. Tell us more about the whole experience and your feelings about this album.
That's because I was sort of alluding to the point of now my solo work has become quite easily to define. It is That's when I lock myself in my studio and I write about very, very personal things, and I do everything myself with no outside influence. And at the time, so like you said, that my daughter had just been born. It was the day, so we'd finished a Dissolution tour in Europe, that was. And the day we came back, my wife was heavily pregnant. She came to the gig, and the day after, she gave birth. It was not quite as dramatic as I say, because she had this procedure where there was a stitch that kept the baby in because she was a high risk pregnancy. But she convinced the doctor to just leave it a bit longer so she could come to the show that we played in London. And then
Wow.
we finished the gig, drove back straight after the show. In the next day, the baby was born. So it was quite an intense time. Especially the London show was the biggest show we'd ever done at the Shepherd's Bush Empire in London. And then that was it. So as soon as you get over that sort of 2 week, shock of a new baby and the sleepless nights, and it settles down, I was in this sort of really serene period of my life. So I would come to the studio, I'd have the baby behind me sleeping, and I would just write. So I would write about the world and this perspective I had of the world, with having just brought a new life into it. So I thought I'd just take the unique time and bottle it, as it were, into writing music.
Do you see, like, is there something happening with the popularity of Pineapple Thief and your own solo albums? Like, does it reflect
I think
somehow?
it's certainly more successful, and we were about before the world was paused. We were set up to do some shows. We did one show in Holland, and we were which went really well, and so we were ready to do more, and which was really good. So I was quite keen to
Okay.
take, but I'm quite happy that it's almost like a bit more underground, just to the people that know about it and know about me. I'm not. I'm quite happy to have the Pineapple Thief as being the big artifact, and the solo one is just really. I know that people that come to the shows are the people that um, really get what it is that I do.
Looking back at more than 21 years with the Pineapple Thief, 13 albums, 7 live compilations, multiple EPs and singles, do you guys think that you're exactly where you were hoping to be back then?
Do you know what? I don't think I ever put. I never had sort of a target that I
Okay.
was aiming for. All I ever thought about was let's just write the best music I possibly can and get it out there, and leave Kscope to do their job and to get it out as best they can. So I think, to be honest, I think that when I started in 1999, what we're doing now, having just come back from the touring North America, is beyond probably what I ever imagined the band would do. I think hoped a band would do is different, but I never imagined the band would get that popular. I was happy enough that I'd got out of the small town that I live in and was playing some shows in London and a few in Europe, and if that was all that I got, then that was great for me, in terms of commercial success. But I never stopped sort of the hunger for making music and just making the best music that I possibly could. So I don't like you say, what the success we've got now, I guess, is down to just a little bit of luck, but mainly just focus on making music, and then the rest will follow, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So, oh,
That's my that's my son asking to be picked up, so I have to wait.
just a few more minutes.
Yeah, no, that's fine. He can wait. It's fine.
At first, us fans were afraid that new album release would be affected by COVID, right? It kind of was at the beginning, like they postponed some releases, but now it's like totally different. Tons of album coming up on the market for us to enjoy. Have you thought about delaying the release, or perhaps it was a great moment to do so?
I think it was a good moment, and I'm really glad that Kscope were able to get it out, because one thing I think people need this year, especially, is music, is
Yep.
new music. So people saying, "Oh, but Bruce, you're not going to be on a tour, and aren't you worried about like the fact that the record shops and that?" And we said, "Well, no, that people will still get to hear it. That and they'll. It's not like people aren't going to seek out music just because of what's happening. They're going to need it more than ever."
Hmm.
So yeah, we didn't think twice about putting the record out. But like you said, there's loads of release, especially this month. I've noticed a lot of big releases
Oh yeah,
coming. Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Case Cope, Inside Out, it's non-stop now
Inside Out,
music.
I just yeah. I mean, you got Pain of Salvation, Tim Bowness,
The
and all kinds of stuff.
Tangent.
Yeah,
Yep.
Tangent. Yeah. So
Yeah.
all good stuff. We're
Absolutely.
in rude health. Yeah.
Yep. You've played the games a few times, but we at Profile we like to ask, like we like to end the interview with a few questions that only require 1 or 2 word answers.
Okay.
Yeah, you've played the game
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
so you ready?
Yeah.
Growing up, who was your favorite singer?
Oh, Colin Blunstone.
Colin Blenston. Very nice. Any instrument you wish you could learn playing, but you still haven't done so?
Drums, without a doubt.
What is the last album you've listened to other than your own?
Oh, that's a good question, because when I'm doing my own stuff, I don't listen to a lot of music. I think, let me think, the last record that, oh, I'm just trying to remember, because I would have been in my kitchen. What was it that I was playing? I think it would have been with my wife, the new Rufus Wainwright albums, of all things. In fact, he's French Canadian, isn't he,
Yes,
Rufus
he
Wainwright?
is.
So
Yep.
yeah,
I believe from Ottawa, but I'm not 100%
right.
sure. Looking back at all your live performances, which one stands out from the lot?
Can I say two? So one would be the Palais Montcalm in Quebec, because that was very special, and the other was Mexico City, the first time we played there.
Wow.
That was also sold out. So yeah, very special moments.
Name one band that you secretly like. No offense to any band.
Um, Duran Duran.
Duran Duran. Do you have pets? And if so, what are their names?
Yeah, I got a cat called Betsy. We did have two cats that sadly passed away, Bob and Belle. And I grew up with a little dachshund dog, Bertie. So yeah, that's a lot.
When writing songs, do you start with the melody, a title, lyrics? How do you do it?
Bit of melody, a bit of lyric.
And last question for you, Bruce. One word to describe versions of the truth.
The truth.
Truth. Thank you so much, Bruce, for accepting once again the invite on Profile. You made my day, and I'm sure you made the day of a lot of fans here.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks.
Versions of the Truth will be released on September 4th on Case Co. Pre-order is going on right now, so don't miss out.
Yeah, and also we're coming back to the Palais de Montcalm in well, it's been postponed, but we'll be back.
Oh, that's awesome. Great to hear. Thanks very much.
Okay, great. Thank you.